Is there a scene you wouldn't do over again? Are you sorry you did some? I'm thinking of one specifically, the boy with the bomb.
Well, that was because I made the terrible mistake of having a boy carry a bomb across the city. Mm-hmm. You, the audience, knew that it was a bomb. And I built it up and up until the various clocks and all the hold-ups. And you knew it was going to go off at 1 o'clock, but I let the clocks go 1 minute past 1, 2 minutes, and worked the audience up. And then I let the bomb go off. And he was on a bus, and it blew the whole thing completely. And I remember I was at the press show, and a woman critic came up with both raised fists and said, "How dare you do a thing like that?" Even a hard-boiled critic was taken away with the whole thing. I'd made the mistake in not relieving them at the end of the suspense.
Cyberpunks and retro nerds.
It's Tommy the Hammer.
It's BC.
It's Johnny Rocket. And tonight we're gonna be drinking some beers and watching a movie.
Ooh, yeah.
So first off, we have a Rhinegeist Masthead Brewery collab here.
Ooh.
Called Space Vibe. And this is a West Coast style Imperial
Ooh, okay.
IPA.
Oh.
I thought the I in IPA stood for Imperial, so this is an Imperial IPA.
Oh, wow. Okay, so West Coast style Imperial IPA.
And it's about 8.5.
Shit. Smell. Oh, boy.
Well, that's something right there.
It's kind of, it's something. It's kind of plummy.
Right?
Like, I'm catching like a nectarine smell.
Picking up on the same notes for sure. I'm looking forward to this.
Wow, this actually is striking me very similar to Super Sumo, but I taste more of the grapefruitiness, the tangerininess,
Yeah.
and not the super bitterness that really kind of rankled my nose before. Like, this is kind of dialed in. And for 8.5%, wowzers, that's like really smooth and drinkable.
Well, this here is just, I mean, it says West Coast style Imperial IPA. It's not a double IPA, so I don't know if that has a factor.
No, you could be onto something there.
In those regards, maybe it's not as intense with the fucking flavor.
But it is an Imperial IPA.
Yeah, they're doing something different here for sure.
I'll agree with you because I feel like initially, like the very first second you get that sip, you get like that Super Slam vibe,
Yeah.
But this, like the aftertaste, it's not as off-putting. Like I feel like this, the more you drink it, it doesn't get worse. Where I noticed with the beer that I chose, like at first I was like, oh, I kind of like this, and the more I drank it, I was like, I don't even want to finish this.
Right.
Whereas this, like this, it goes down easily. It's smooth.
Yeah.
It's not overpowering in the taste that's there.
Yeah, no.
So I enjoy it.
I could be chugging this at the concert, you know, at the party, at the wedding, at the funeral.
Maybe you could, Tom, but maybe for our viewers that don't handle the heavy stuff so much, this is 8.5%. I will say that again.
Dangerous.
So it is quite dangerous. You can get into trouble real fast swilling this down. I'll go first. What the hell? I'm going to give Space Vibes an 8.5. I really like it. This is really, really good.
PC.
I'm going to give this an 8. This isn't like my go-to type of beer, but it's very drinkable, and I feel like if you want a beer, that's kind of what you want. You want something drinkable that actually tastes kind of good. So at 8.5%, you know, you're gonna get drunk and not have a bad time.
I'm already feeling good.
Yeah, this is definitely a winner, and I'm with these boys right over here. I gotta say, this is a solid 8, and 8 is great. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of beer that you can just drink all night long and you won't regret it. It's juicy. It's got that like slightly like pickled IPA hoppy note going on that I like, you know, kind of salty.
Big out in space, you're gonna be just kind of floating around in a whole lot of just everything and nothing. And this kind of
waves.
It's all amber waves. So,
All right.
after that wild beer review, we gotta get on to the movie. And today, we're going to school in the middle of summer. We're gonna take it back to 1936, the Alfred Hitchcock classic, Sabotage.
Whoa.
This is movie 1 on this super awesome special edition 2-movie DVD I have. And I was feeling a war flick. I've been just kicking around like something war, like World War II, like just wanting to watch a war flick. Guns of Navarone, like Bridge on the River Kwai, just something, an old war flick, a classic like that. And this has been kicking around for a hot minute, and I think it's time, boys. Let's go watch the master at work here. So many things I did like about it, but man, like, I don't know, I guess dialogue for me and a lot of spots, like some scenes, like, I just don't know why they would flesh some of these scenes out, and then some of their scenes seemed like they were edited so short, like they were like starting to put some production into it, and then it would just cut off. You know, like that early scene where like you see, like, it's almost like a vision of the building imploding, and you're like, wait, what is happening here? And then it cut off, it was gone. You know, and they just kind of, I don't know, snap off these moments a little too soon in a lot of these scenes that kind of like, I mean, I guess it leaves you wanting more, but like, they really didn't give you enough to really want to make you take that bait, so you were wanting more, I guess. Honestly, I was getting a weird undercurrents of almost propaganda in a way, because like, obviously, you know, in England they could see Hitler's rise to power and kind of saw war on the horizon, so this movie almost feels like it's kind of warming its audience up to the fact that this may be a thing, or like, you know, watch out, yeah, you know, this could happen, watch out for spies, you know, things could be afoot, you never know.
I feel like that's a good point, because, I mean, this is the late 1930s, and you've got movie theaters are the only way people can really get world news, you know, cartoons, comedy, things like that. So this could have been an opiate for the masses in a way where it's like designed to kind of like soothe their fears while also stoking them at the same time. You know, possibility, you know, what, you know, terrorist attacks could look like in the late 30s, you know, in the UK.
I feel like this is earlier in Hitchcock's career, and I feel like you can see his filmmaking prowess, you know, on the screen right there. You can see like glimmers of the magic that then become what solidifies him as like a filmmaking great. Like,
yes.
there's certain scenes, how he sets them up, his use of lighting, that, you know, they're great, especially considering like the constraints and like when this was made. So like from a filmmaking perspective, I thought it was really good, but most of the time when I watch a movie, like for me, I really need like a strong narrative or characters that I gravitate towards, that I can relate with. That's like what really makes a good movie a great movie, in my opinion. And with this, you know, I don't know if I'm supposed to feel like I can, you know, empathize with these people in the UK or even care about them, but like the main woman and her little brother, like honestly, even though you could tell that something bad was on the horizon for them, I didn't really care. As a matter of fact,
set 'em up.
as a matter of fact, there's a puppy in the movie, and I was more concerned about what happens with the puppy than what happens with
We
everyone
were very
else.
distressed about the puppy.
And so, and like you guys said, like I feel like there was like this, you know, there's suspense brewing, and like Hitchcock's great at brewing that suspense, but then it's like once we got to the climax, did we care? So we're doing our star count. I'm starting off, and like I said, I think this was a good movie, like from a filmmaking perspective. I think what Alfred Hitchcock did at a time where you couldn't really do much with film, you know, is like miraculous, and you can see, you know, like trademarks in this movie that show up later in his career that he's like then perfected. And so that's awesome to see. My main gripe with old films is always like, usually it's hard to get behind the characters. A lot of them are often one-dimensional, or the dialogue is just like so unlike how we talk. So it's hard to care, and I do feel like that is what hurts this movie. And like you said, there's artistic value that could have been, you know, brought up more if we cared about these people. So that being said, I think I'm gonna go with a 7, because I think filmmaking was great, but ultimately I didn't care about anyone in it.
I like that review. Rock it. This is your movie. This is your pick. Do it.
You really hit the nail on the head as far as that likability factor, the way they're talking, they're not just acting, they're acting, you know? And
Yeah.
we kind of, you gotta walk before you can run, you gotta crawl before you can walk. This is literally, you're watching him cut his teeth in this kind of film, you know, so that's, I can forgive it for that. And honestly, like, I don't know, grading it as is a film like this, like, I give it a 7.5.
Wow.
Really, like, he really, like, I think he carries the film that hard. Like, the acting was okay, you know, the writing was okay, but they were, I don't know, more product of their times. Like, if he had better material to work with, it would have been an even greater movie. So, like, yeah, pretty much Hitchcock on his own carries this. It was 7.5.
Yeah.
For sure.
A great review. I'm with you guys on that one. And when I think about this movie, it's like, I've never heard of Sabotage, so we really don't know the story behind the movie. We don't know what Alfred Hitchcock himself was working with. But in terms of a couple of guys sitting around drinking beer in my basement, watching an old black and white movie from the 1930s on the go, yeah, I'm gonna have to say I'm at about a 6.5 or a 7. You know, I think this is a good movie. Obviously not Alfred Hitchcock's best, in my opinion. But if you're looking for a movie by Alfred Hitchcock that displays his craft for cinematography and an eye for like camera angles and that black and white film noir, positive, negative contrast, then definitely check it out. It's interesting in those regards. Yes.
I wonder if, you know, so I'm thinking he's only got, you know, it's what he has to work with, right? You know, he's not going to make a he's not going to make you know, a filet mignon if he's got ground beef,
I thought you were
right?
gonna say flamingo.
I don't know what, I was trying to say filet mignon and just failing miserably. Talk about rolling a 1 in real
Could you
life.
imagine a filet mignon made out of a flamingo?
I mean, would a flamingo have filet?
What would it be called? A flamingo mignon?
Maybe.